Hi guys, wow, on a day that I had some YouTube issues, two of the biggest stories dropped. Suella Braverman was fired, David Cameron was hired. James Cleverly is taking over from Suella's old job at the Home Office, and Cameron is leaving the private sector, it seems, to take up his role as Foreign Secretary. Now this is highly unusual, and it hasn't gone down well in any particular quarter. Some of the more moderate Conservatives, like former Prime Minister Theresa May, have welcomed the old Tory back into the fold, but it will take some time for the idea to sink in. So what does Cameron actually bring to the table? How does he help out Rishi Sunak? Well, first, let's have a listen to what he had to say.
Well, I know it's not usual for a Prime Minister to come back in this way, but I believe in public service. The Prime Minister asked me to do this job, and it's a time where we have some daunting challenges as a country. The conflict in the Middle East, the war in Ukraine, and of course, I hope that 6 years as Prime Minister, 11 years leading the Conservative Party gives me some useful experience and contacts and relationships and knowledge that I can help the Prime Minister to make sure we build our alliances, we build partnerships with our friends, we deter our enemies, and we keep our country strong. That's why I'm doing the job, and I'm delighted to accept.
You have expressed publicly recently disagreements with the Prime Minister. Have you promised to button it? Is it a collective responsibility from here on in?
On the whole, as an ex-Prime Minister, I've tried to keep quiet about politics, stay out of politics. It's hard enough being Prime Minister without having your predecessors endlessly giving a running commentary. But look, of course, I've disagreed with some individual decisions, but politics is a team enterprise. I've decided to join this team because I believe Rishi Sunak is a good Prime Minister doing a difficult job at a hard time. I want to support him. I'm a member of the team, and I accept the Cabinet collective responsibility that comes with that.
Okay. You'll notice his name now is Lord Cameron because he's not an MP. He's a member of the House of Lords, and that's the only way that Rishi Sunak could get him into the cabinet without having a by-election. So appoint him to the House of Lords and then he can become a cabinet minister. Now, what does David Cameron bring to the table? What is the advantage of having David Cameron as opposed to not having David Cameron? So the advantage is, of course, is that he's somebody who's going to not have his eye. He's not going to be looking to replace Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister. So this has been a problem with, for example, Suella Braverman. Suella Braverman wanted to become the next leader of the Conservative Party or the next Prime Minister, depending on how long this saga continues. David Cameron is not going to have that. He's not interested in becoming the next leader or becoming Prime Minister again. So this is somebody that Rishi Sunak can feel comfortable with. He's not going to be challenged, and he's going to do basically as he's told. He's also somebody who can present a sort of moderate feeling within the party and demonstrate that the party is moving more to the centre. This has been the opposite of what's happening over the last 12 months in particular. With Suella Braverman at the Home Office, the party seemed to be moving further and further to the right. And we know that the further it moves to the right, the more it will empty space for the Labour Party to fill. And this is going to damage the party at the general election. So as they're chasing the UKIP Brexit Party Reform UK vote, they vacate the centre, and this will be filled, of course, by the Labour Party. So this perhaps is a message: we're moving back to the centre. Cameron is a statesman. He's like a typical politician. He's someone that people imagine a politician looks like. So this is sort of bringing a sort of moderation, in a sense, back to the party. Now, are these things positive? Not really. I think people are not really concerned about that. The average person on the street is more concerned about cost of living or the NHS. David Cameron's not going to fix that. So what are the negatives of having David Cameron on the team? Well, there are a lot of problems. First of all, Brexit. Okay, he's the guy who delivered Brexit. In a sense, he delivered the referendum. So on the people on the Remainer side, people are not happy with David Cameron because he's responsible for this disaster. But on the Brexiteer side, he was one of the heads of the Remain campaign. So people on either side of the debate are not happy with David Cameron. Some Brexiteers commenting on this say it's a betrayal of Brexit, that Rishi Sunak He's filling his cabinet with Remainers and Remoaners, and he's betraying the votes to leave the European Union. And David Cameron doesn't help that situation. And of course, there are other issues, for example, allegations of corruption, lobbying for a private company that eventually collapsed. Hundreds of jobs were lost, millions of pounds in investment was lost, but it's allegedly he earned about £3 million out of that. And of course, there are the cuts to public services that he and his chancellor ruled over. Austerity, that was the big problem over the last number of years. People struggling to make ends meet, and cuts to public services. So what does he bring to the table? A sort of moderation. And I think there are some Tory MPs who'll be happy to see David Cameron back. But on the flip side, he's just going to upset a lot of people who are struggling at the moment, people who remember austerity, if it ever really went away, and anyone who's concerned about Brexit, be it on the Remain side or on the pro-Brexit side, are not happy to see David Cameron back. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.